Hey, how are you?
No, no, how are you doing? You all right?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for it's a real it's an honor to be on. Thank you.
No worries, mate. Yeah, cheers for getting in touch and getting involved
Yeah.
with the Patreon and stuff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm back on, proud Patreon member. Yeah, I don't know how I discovered you. I guess one of the Jarman brothers retweeted it, and it's been a real trip down memory lane. It's been some fantastic episodes. Like the one with the Dirty Pretty Things guy was really fascinating, and the guy from I think his name's Matt too. I think he's a Apple Music DJ,
Yeah,
but
name Wilkinson.
yeah, he because I didn't get into Libertines till like after they broke up, but just the way he was talking about like he's like he said something like for 2 weeks like they were like the best British band ever, and it was just like oh wow, like, it's just like it's like wow, it's like oh so that was so cool.
Yeah, that's funny that.
Yeah.
So whereabouts are you then? You're in New York City.
Yeah, I live in Hoboken, which is right across the river, so you can like see New York, and you get into New York in about 20 minutes. And I went to school in New York, and kind of my British music journey. Like I went to college, university, as you guys call. I went to college in 2004, and I was sort of kind of getting into Oasis, and I love that "Don't Believe the Truth" album. I think it's like their third best album. That was kind of my gateway to like British music. And there was a guy. The college I went to, Fordham, had a pretty legit called still does a legit radio station called WFUV. And there was a guy down the hall from me who had all these promo copies of albums, and he had the second Libertines album, and so it's such a very striking cover, as you know. And I'm like, "What is this?" And like, he gave me a copy of it. And I was just like, immediately like transfixed, and like, like they had broken up at that. Yeah, they were broken up, so but they were still like NME was like on top of all that drama and stuff, and I just immediately like kind of got sucked into that whole story. And a lot of those bands, like I was pretty lucky, like they all came to New York. The Libertines obviously never did. I think they did like way before, like that first album before Peak RS, but I got to see like, who did I see? I've seen the Kooks those 4 years, Block Party, um, the Cribs a million times, the Wombats. I just saw the View got into something, but I never saw them. Their tour was canceled my sophomore junior year because some of them got caught with coke and they got the visa issues, so I never got to see the View. Um, the Cortiners. I know you don't like them. I'd love to. I want to hear like what like the true blue like British. I heard like true blue British people don't like them. I'm curious about that. I saw Morrissey. I saw Oasis a couple times, but I drank too much. I can go on and on, but yeah, I got to see a lot of those like, NME bands. The Claxons, that interview you did with the Claxons was awesome. Yeah, I really like them. I saw seeing them twice. So that was really cool. But I'm rambling. But yeah, I was very fortunate. Got to see a lot of bands. A lot of those bands came to New York, which was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yes,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the cartoon. I guess it's just like, um, yeah, I don't know. I just don't really get them.
Yeah, I'm
I
guessing.
guess.
Do you know Good Charlotte? You know Good Charlotte?
Yeah, yeah.
Are they kind of like the British Good Charlotte kind of? That was my guess.
Um, yeah, I guess
Just like kind of like
Good Charlotte were massive though, weren't they?
yeah, I know, just like kind of like girl, like little girls like them kind of thing. Like it's like girly punk rock kind of thing. The thing is that the kind of it.
Yeah, I guess it's like how do I describe it? It's like there's an element of bands that have got a bit more of a, I guess the term we'd use here is like a chavvy following. I don't know what the American term would be for a chav.
Like bros kind of thing.
Bit more
Like
laddie.
bros.
Yeah.
That yeah, like jocks kind of
A little
thing.
bit, yeah. And like I do like obviously what you could class maybe Oasis like that, and I've always been a big Oasis
Yeah.
fan. And like I appreciate I quite enjoy some Kasabian stuff as well, and they'd be classed as a bit of a lad band. But yeah, But being
Yeah,
fair play to Cortines, they've got like especially where I live in Manchester, and they've got a huge following here. Like they'll sell out
yeah.
the
I
biggest
see they
venues
put.
going. Yeah,
Yeah, I see they played like 50, 100,000 people in Manchester, but like everywhere else, they're kind of like way down the bill. Like to
yeah, it's
see
a
a
strange
festival.
one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe I should give
Um,
them a go. I'll actually I'll give them a go and like listen to the albums properly at
yeah.
some point. But
Just from my, just as like a music geek perspective, like it seems like he has a deep Liam in the cartoons. He has like a deep understanding of like the history of Manchester music and like the legendary figures in it throughout. Stone Roses, Oasis, New Order, all the Smiths, and uh, he deeply like wants to be in that you know line of succession. I just like don't think he is like the
yeah,
jazz. He hasn't placed there, and I think that hurts him. Like deep down, he wants to be like that next guy, and I just like don't think he ever got to that level for whatever reason. But that's just my. You can see he's like I don't know. He wants to be like that next guy, but he's not. It just hasn't happened. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I guess they're just not different enough to like put them up there.
Mhm.
Do you think like they're a bit more
Yeah,
contrived from other music a little bit?
yeah, I could definitely see like his two favorite bands are like Oasis and the Libertines. Like you could definitely like see. There was I forget that band. Oh, because you're friends with the Paddingtons, right? Is that kind
Yeah,
of
we're from the same
or
place. Yeah.
yeah? So the Paddingtons came to New York once, and like they played all the way in the Lower East Side, and I went to school in the Bronx, which is if you ever like way. I don't know what that maybe it's I don't know what the like in London equivalent is, but it's just like
Maybe
hour and
like
a half
Brixton or
on.
something. I don't know.
Yeah, like yeah, it's just like hour and a half. So I never got to go, and they played some super small club called Pop Scene in New York. I don't think it's there anymore, but so I didn't go, and I was always like kicking myself. And I really like those two Paddington albums, but I did get to see the Skaters.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I got to see them a couple times, and they were really fun. But they also seem like a band that should have came out in like 2006, like that. Like they just like didn't fit into like the current climate and stuff. But I saw them a couple times, and I know one of the Paddington guys was in the Skaters, and they were really fun. And I got to see them a couple times. I like them a lot.
yeah. Really, yeah.
Yeah,
Josh lives in New York now, I think. But yeah, I really liked that album. It was ace. Like some of the songs were
yeah,
really good, but like you say, it was like the party was over at that point a little bit. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I know. Are the
yeah,
Skaters done? Like, have you heard anything? Because I haven't. I guess they're done. I just haven't said anything. But
yeah. I think the lead singer Michael, he was in a band before as well called the Dead Trees.
yeah,
Um,
I know. I guess
and he's
I
just
heard.
started doing stuff again. Apparently, I think he's like just released something out of nowhere. So
Okay.
I've not actually listened to it yet. To be fair, I'll have to listen to it. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think they sacked it off and like called it a day, and then they've kind of creeped back in.
yeah. Knock on wood. Maybe they'll come back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they did get signed, Skaters. I think they were signed to Warner's or something.
Yeah, they were signed to a big label.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think it's just tough for. I don't know how it is over there now, but I think it's really tough for rock bands in general now. It's just like not part of the popular culture and stuff, and you
Yeah.
know,
I was talking about this to George, who I do some episodes with, and just saying
hmm,
like how new bands now will be like in the 30s, and like trying to like discuss why that's the case. And I guess it must be because you have to stick at it for such a long time to get anywhere, maybe.
yeah, I know, and yeah, I think there's a big. I don't know. Maybe you should write like someone like I'm sure you read the Lizzie Goodman book and saw the movie. I just like feel like there was a big like missed opportunity. Like it didn't like cover what the Strokes like their influence and like the explosion they caused in England. Like because that was not my fit. Like I don't really care about there's some LCD sound system songs I like, but they just like everything they like that little like explosion of bands like just because there would be no probably be no Libertines without the Strokes and no Arctic Monkeys and all that stuff and all the smaller bands. It's just like I that's what I love about your podcast so much because it was just like this really like fertile time. And I remember you talking to one of the Jarmans just about. I love your questions, like do you have any Liam Gallagher stories and just all those anecdotes are so great. Like and it's just like oh, if they're at like the Groucho Club, which is and I was like the Groucho Club, and like it's like this like a rich guy like club in London, just like I don't know, it's just so cool. And then like all those little like because they were like Oasis was like kind of like the Godfathers like over they no one was really directly influenced by them, but they all kind of living in the shadow. But like they're like Noel was kind of always at the shows it seemed like and approved of like the cool bands and stuff, and he knew like this was like kind of the next thing, and like they weren't like rejecting it. And yeah, like it was just I don't know. I feel like there's a real opening for someone to write a book or a documentary about that scene from an English like a London perspective, because like that's where like it was really fertile and like similar to when the Ramones went to London in the 70s, like all these bands kind of I think all the bands were there. Kind of it wasn't just like Ramones like oh then the Clash started and the Sex Pistols, but like they were kind of there, but like the Ramones really kind of lit a fuse it seemed like as the Strokes did, and it really mirrored that scene a little bit, like where like London like took what was happening here and just blew it up to a whole new perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I know the book thing. I think I keep hearing whispers at people like I've got books in the works or there's like maybe a film in the works, and it would be great. So I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
did an episode that's not been out yet, but it's with a guy who started a record label, I think called Trash. Is it called Trash? But basically he's got loads of unseen footage from around that time.
Mm.
I'm like, that'd be like crack to some people, especially people like us that just want to. Any unseen
Yeah.
footage from that time's kind of like gold
Yeah.
dust now, isn't it?
Yeah. I just kind of don't really know what you have. You don't know what you have till it's gone. But yeah, it was a special time because how old are you? Because I'm 30. I'm 37.
Right, I'm 35 next week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and like so when I was in high school, like yeah, there was like the rap rock thing, which I never really liked, and there was like emo, which I didn't really like either. And like I knew I was like looking for this kind of like the next rock scene because I loved like all the grunge bands, but I was way too young to experience them. So like when the Strokes and the White Stripes hit, I'm like, this is my especially the Strokes. Those first two albums are just perfect, and I'd love to talk to you about the Strokes and like I don't know what the hell happened to them. Like looking back now, but like those first two albums were perfect. And then when I got to college, like it was like I said, like I'm like oh like there's that scene still going on with like new bands and stuff. Like it was just like there was a lot, I think there was a lot of people like looking for like a rock scene that wasn't like emo and it wasn't new metal. Like just like we just like play guitars and like talk about girls and, like get fucked up like just like the classic core core ingredients of rock. And so yeah, it was just it was great. And I have a million questions for you, but like I don't know if I can but like
Go for
we're
it.
like I guess like so I'm sure you're a big Arctic Monkeys fan. I am too. Like now we're kind of like I feel like the sheen's kind of off for me at least. Those with those last two albums, like I didn't really love them, but like where do you? My theory is that it just got too popular and they started seeing like let's kind of like shave off some of this fan base and get weird. Like we have too much money. We're all like married to supermodels, so like let's get experimental and we don't want like let's kind of like shrink us down a little. Is that like what do you think? Like now that there are kind of two albums past, that the heyday of like AM and stuff, like they got really these last two albums are like really weird looking back on them, at least from me, my perspective.
Yeah, I guess I see it a little bit differently than like why have a bit yeah, my relationship with Arctic Monkeys kind of like I was really into them. When they first came out, it was like amazing because
Yeah.
they were like Libertines and stuff because of my age. I felt like I missed the
Mhm.
party a little bit because, you know, they split up
Yeah.
so early, and the only time I ever got to see him in that period was when Pete wasn't in the band. So when Arctic Monkeys came around, it's like, right, wow, this band's ours. Like this is for like our age group, or whatever. And
Yeah, for sure.
but so I loved it, and then loved the demo. His first album came out, and even then
Beneath the
it was,
Boardwalk.
yeah, the demos are amazing. And then
Yeah.
even with the first album, like you felt like the demos are when the songs were the most exciting, I think. Because even
Mhm.
by the time we got to record that first album, there's something a bit missing from it a little bit. Like it'd been around the block already a bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah, I remember like second album, I just got totally lost interest. And then it was AM that piqued my interest again.
Mhm. It's like
And then,
irresistible album.
yeah, and then I went back and listened to like Humbug and stuff. And I was like, wow, it's actually ace. And Suck It and See and
Mm.
stuff. And so I was like bang into him again. And then, yeah, I had a different experience really. Like it took me a while to get into the Tranquility album, but ended up loving it. And then the last one, I really like it. But I know what you mean. Like there's something about AM where I was saying to someone else, like the live performances from AM are probably, can't really replicate that because they were on, I think that's probably the peak
Yeah.
live moment, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was lucky. I saw them a bunch of times. But the crowds here are just so boring compared to like like in England. Like, yeah, I see videos on YouTube and like everyone's just going crazy and like it's just like this tribal like fucking people are
Yeah,
going nuts.
Scotland's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I love this. I've never seen a show at the Barrowlands, but I've seen like YouTube footage of like old Oasis shows on Libertine shows, and like just people are just on top of each other. There's like beers flying everywhere, and like it's just like the apparently the stage, I mean like the floor just like literally bounces. When I've read it, it's just like insane. But like I did get to see I'm curious about this. I forgot to see this band. I saw the on the fourth album. They played Central Park with the Vaccines, and it seemed like there was just like a bunch of young kids there, and like the crowd was just awesome for Arctic Monkeys, and that was a great show. And before AM came out, I don't know how we got tickets, but we got tickets to see them. This was right before AM came out. We saw them at the Bowery Ballroom, I believe it was, or Irving Plaza, which is a super small, like 600 people,
Oh,
700
wow.
people. It was like, and then like they're never, it was just like it was just them, four guys. Like, if you look at that show now, like it's just like there's like two drummers and like three guitarists, like two keyboardists. It's just like the clothes are kind of weird. Like they used to dress so cool, and like I don't know what they're wearing. Like it's just like I don't know. They just seem like they got way. It's not their fault, but they just got super super. They're just like extraterrestrials now, and I don't know. It's just like I don't know, boys. Like it's just like it's not embarrassing. Like I think the Strokes for me, like I think they just got embarrassing. Like
The
some of those
Strokes.
last yeah, like those last couple albums, like are just you can tell Julian's like doesn't want to be there, and like now they're just touring all the time for money because he got divorced, and I don't know, like it's just for me, like they're just like those first two albums are unimpeachable, like perfect, and like a couple songs after that are great, but like I don't know what happened. I just feel like they like kind of just for me as a fan, like they just kind of destroyed their legacy. Like it's just they've broken the trust. But I don't know. When like you get to the point where you break up with a band, like it's just like I'll still always love you, but like these last three albums are just like they kind of broken me. Like this, where are you still on this Strokes? Like I don't know. I just can't. Like the last few things they put out, like I don't know what they're trying to do. Like it just seems like
I enjoyed yeah, I know what you mean. Like there's elements of like Come Down Machine and stuff that are a bit weird. I did enjoy the last album, but I just think, yeah, they've gone past a point now where I feel like Arctic Monkeys are relevant in a way the Strokes can't be now.
Yeah,
Obviously, you probably feel the same about Arctic Monkeys, maybe that they've gone past the point of being relevant,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I do feel like the Strokes, yeah, like there's so many years of just obviously playing festivals for money, like you say, and then Julian's passion project would be the Void. So what's your view on the
yeah,
Voids then?
yeah,
What
yeah.
do you like them?
Oh, there's there's one song they did I really like. It sounds like a Stroke song. It's like "Put Me in My Dreams" or something.
Yeah,
I
Leave It
forgot
in
the
My
name of it.
Dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds just like a Stroke song. I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah. Apparently, because there was a used to read a lot like around the third album. I think like Julian got sober, or he had a kid, and he was married. But like from what I've read, like they don't really do many interviews now. But like from what I've read, like he's divorced, and like I remember you did a video about like some bad gig they did, like, and I keep seeing that, like people complaining about he seems drunk and like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
I
I
think
don't
is
know.
that
So
the one
yeah,
in Denmark, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and like apparently they're playing festivals this summer, of course, and like last week in Utah, like I was seeing TikToks of people complaining about the performance again,
All
and
right.
yeah, so yeah, I didn't. I was looking for like YouTube footage. I couldn't really find anything, but like I've seen that a lot, like on Twitter and stuff, like the stuff you put out, like people complaining about the performance, and it sucks. It's a shame. Like it's just
Yeah, I quite like listening to Julian ramble on. It's quite funny, but
hmm,
there is something I went to see him last year in Berlin, but there's something about it that's a bit like I don't know. It's almost like they're older than they are. It's like
yeah,
it's when like it's like Fleetwood Mac when they trot out and play a few festivals, and it's like everyone's like goes for the nostalgia.
yeah,
The bit what it's not fully like that with the Strokes, but there is a bit of that. It's like you can tell Julian's not in it like he was. Not
no,
whereas like Alex Turner for me is still he's still in it when he's playing those old songs. I
yeah.
don't know, it's weird. It's hard to explain. Pardon
Yeah,
the pun.
I know the thing. I have never like he's never said this, but like I don't like when you have like such a insane back catalog like the Arctic Monkeys do. Like I just don't get why they don't change up the set lists. Like I like Pearl Jam, and like Pearl Jam like never plays the same set. Like they played Hyde Park, last summer, and like they're gonna play Minnesota in America like later this summer. Like it's gonna be a completely different set list, and it seems like the Arctic Monkeys like they kind of don't they're glad like the NME phase of their career is over. Like they just like kind of seems like they look down on their past work a little bit. Like they just like don't want to relive the glory days, even with the fans. Like
Yeah,
people are.
there's some lyrics on the new album that suggest that as well.
Mm,
Um
yeah,
the one called Big Ideas, I think he references this idea that he was going to go back to like an AM type sound, and then he just pulled the plug on it.
yeah, yeah. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of his interviews, and I have too. And like people will try to like ask him like a concrete question, and like he just like doesn't say anything back. Like he's like an athlete, like 'cause that's what I'm a big baseball fan, and like baseball players like they just don't want to give any substantive answer because they just want to like focus on the team and like the performance and like not give any drama to the
Yeah.
press. And like he seems the same way. Like he just doesn't want to. Like you ask him, like, oh, like what was the inspiration for the song? He's just like, oh, and it's like he just doesn't. I was like, dude, was this about a breakup? And he's like, oh, he just never. I don't know. He never like. He's obviously a genius, but like he never wants to like show the magic behind the scenes or like
Yeah,
give an
yeah.
answer, which
I
is
think
frustrating.
he's similar to Julian Casablancas in that way. It's like I think he's become so hardened to interviews now that
Yeah,
he's like an artist getting interviewed about his work. Like there's that
yeah,
wall up.
yeah,
Um, just yeah, I know what you mean. I think even one interview where he just point blank, someone said, "What's the meaning of this song?" Is like, yeah, I'm not going to say that. It's like a fair player.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
but yeah, like to go back to the shows, like this year they're playing in London with the AAS, and on paper that should be
Yeah,
unmissable. But then I'm like, I'm not actually that bothered because I saw
it's probably a massive show, right? Like 80,000, 100,000 people.
yeah, it's in the festival in East London. There'd be mind you, the Strokes never really sell out festivals in England.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Not really. Like
Yeah.
they'll sell out. I mean, I went to see them at the Roundhouse in Camden a couple of years ago, and that's obviously sold out instantly.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to like 50,000 plus, there's never it's never hard to get tickets. But
Mm, yeah.
yeah, this is like probably, and I saw Yeah Yeahs last year in Manchester, and then like yeah, this is the first time when they've played festivals in England. I'm like, I'm actually not that bothered.
Yeah. I'm not a big festival guy either. Um,
Yeah, one day one's all right, but yeah,
yeah. I got a couple like, were you, I mean, do you, with like, no, like, I'm a bit like Noel's divorce. Like, I mean, I don't, I thought that was an interesting development, but like, there hasn't really been any creaks in the armor about like a potential reunion. Did you think like that was it? Did it like I? They haven't really said what happened, which is not surprising to private people, but like that seemed surprising to me just because like his last album. I know it was a couple of years ago. He had EPs, but like she's on the cover of like the album.
oh
Like
really?
yeah, his like Who Built the Moon, like it's like she's on the cover, which was surprising. And
Okay,
all his songs about like that time period was just about like being in love and like I'm so lucky, and it was surprising. I don't know. I don't know. I was surprised at that, like that he's getting divorced, and like it seemed like that maybe like there might be an avenue for a reunion because of the
yeah.
expensive divorce, but I was surprised he was getting divorced.
Yeah, I was surprised as well.
Yeah,
Because like you said, like I remember him talking loads about how yeah how great she thought how great he thought she was. But
yeah,
there has been a little bit like he said he was interviewed, and I don't know if it was a wind up, but he's like, oh, Liam just needs to ring. He just needs to ring my
yeah,
people, and we'll get it going. And then I thought that may be a bit of a power play, or like
yeah,
because Liam immediately like shut that down. He was like, oh, he said something like, "Knowles." He's like, "Oh, this isn't an easy fix. He's upset me and the fans, kind of thing." And it's like, well, you can just see the dynamic there is just never going to be.
yeah,
It's always a one-upmanship with them both, isn't
yeah.
it? I don't think it's going to be easy resolved.
And I
Obviously, I suppose.
there's this American writer Stephen Hayden, and he put it in a way I thought was interesting. I never really thought about it that way, but like Liam, like when his like first solo album came out, like he turned the fans like against Noel by saying like I want a reunion. Like it's Noel who doesn't want one. Like I whenever Liam does press for any of his albums, he's like, yeah, like I'd rather be touring with Oasis. Like he pretty much says that flat out, which is interesting. I wonder what his like his bandmates think because it's like hanging out for dear life. But like he basically like turned the fans again because I think the fans were always on Noel's side, at least from my perspective. Like, because it's just like Liam's a dick. Like, he's the one who caused this, and like he's such a prick. But then like Liam like comes out of hiding. He's like, yeah, like I want a reunion. It's like Noel who doesn't want one. Like, he's the reason. I thought that it was like an interesting like press strategy by Liam to like kind of turn the fans against Noel. Like, he's like, I'm the one who wants a reunion. It's like it's Noel who doesn't. And I thought I'd never really like seen it put that way. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. I think he did do that, but I also think Noel didn't help himself because he started to treat the fans like, uh, yeah, he started to treat the fans pretty badly. I remember I went to see them both in 2018, I think. I was
mhm.
like, oh, I'm gonna go see them both, and Liam Gallagher gig in Madrid was ace. And then went to see Noel, and he was like, he literally said, "Right, you cut." Yeah, he just said to the crowd, "Right, you cunts are gonna sing my name now." But like not in like if not in a bantery way, like in a real like condescending way. And people didn't really respond. And I was like, Yeah, he's gone past the point now. He actually thinks he's above his fans.
Yeah, he doesn't seem happy.
Nah, and I think he's trying to claw it back a little bit now.
Yeah,
But it's interesting because I remember Noel saying, he's like, look, if I rang Liam tomorrow, this was when Liam was giving it the whole, I've got my bags packed and all that for
yeah,
Oasis. And Noel said, look, if I rang Liam tomorrow and said, right, Oasis, let's get it back together, he wouldn't do it. He's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's that one-upmanship thing they've got, I think.
yeah. I know.
Liam can't be seen to be sub, I don't know. You know what I mean? He has to be on top. They both have to be on top, I think.
Yeah, he has to like work out for them both, their egos and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly. It's
remember.
ego, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like one. I remember. Yeah, I think it's the same interview. Like Noel said, he's like, "Yeah, I can make one phone call, and like the world will stop." And like I was like, "Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I don't know."
What do you
Um,
think though? Would you want to see it though?
yeah, that's the other thing. Like this is one trend I don't like at all. Like I'm sure you've seen it, but like Liam has like a teleprompter on stage. I think just I know like fans don't see it, but like you see it when you watch like live videos. Like I hate that. Like it just seems so on rock and roll for me. Yeah, like it is like, do you want to? Because I feel like they went out kind of on top. Like I know, like Liam's older, so like his voice will naturally degrade a bit. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just I don't know if I think it's kind of better they don't. Like I was fortunate to see him, even though I don't really remember the gigs, but like I I um I just feel like just I'm sure I don't know how bad it is in England, but like the ticketing side of things in America is like horrible. Like it's impossible to get tickets to like big concerts and stuff. Like I just feel like it'd be it would be so expensive, and I don't know. Like I kind of think they should leave it in the past. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think maybe too much time has passed, and I don't know,
Hmm.
it would be this nostalgia thing, and like, oh, would they make new music, and not would it be any good? And I don't know. Like it. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Like, like Pandora's box, kind of. You know?
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting about the tickets. What is it like bots that take them all up or something? Okay,
What?
right. What are you saying about the tickets in America? Is it like the
Oh
bots get all
yeah,
of them or
yeah.
something?
It's just yeah, with the bots and just like resellers, like there's this whole. I don't know if they have in England. I don't know if there's laws against it, but basically there's like for all these big tours, like The Cure didn't do it, but like Taylor Swift and like Blink 182, like they do this thing called dynamic pricing. So it's like the ticket price will fluctuate on like how many people are like looking for it or trying to buy them. So
What?
it's
What,
like
like
it's not
flights?
like yeah, exactly. So it's like it's not like it's all like every ticket is like $80 or whatever. It's like, it'll fluctuate. So it's just
Wow, like
um
supply and demand type thing.
yeah, it's like really gross and like some bands don't do it. Like The Cure just did a big they're in the middle of a US tour now, but they didn't do it, but like I'm sure you've seen like Blink got back together and like they did it and
I've heard some
it's
of their tickets are ridiculously expensive, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so it's just yeah, and it's just I don't know. It just kind of takes the fun out of it, and I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
I just
that's
feel
pretty
like I've seen
rubbish.
everything too, and like I there's not a lot I want to see. Like I don't know. There's like only so many things to see now,
Yeah,
and it's just like not a lot I
I'm
don't know.
quite
We're at
selective
that
about
point.
what I go to a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. um
um.
yeah, with
Yeah.
Oasis, I always like, oh, they should leave it. But then now I'm just like, why not? Just like quite intrigued to see it. I don't know if
Yeah.
whether I'd actually go. If it was in Manchester, fuck me, the crowd it'd be off the scale.
Yeah.
You'd have to take, you'd have to
Uh,
be ready to defend yourself, I think.
yeah.
But
I know they play endless. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many nights they do. Like they just do night or they just book a stadium for like months. Like I don't know. Like it's
that's
just
another thing.
sold
Like they
out.
can't. Yeah, Liam's already done Nebworth again, so they wouldn't do that again.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'd be intrigued I'd just be intrigued now to see. I think they should. I mean, the solo stuff. I don't know. It's all right. It's just it's very 6 out of 10, isn't it?
yeah. There's a couple Liam songs I like, but and like I buy all the Noel stuff just out of solidarity, but like most of the time it's just kind of I don't know. It's just like feels like music to like supermarket music. It's just like it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
meandering stuff. I remember there's one song he did with Johnny Marr. I'm like, oh, the songs would be awesome, and like the song like, sucked. It was like so boring. Like it was. I'm just like I don't know what they thought they were doing there, but what
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I traveled overseas to see the Libertine. I've seen the Libertines 5 times. Where do you think? Like, if you then your pals like, where's this album? Like, where's because they haven't really. They've been pretty quiet. Like, have you heard anything? Like, is it coming? Like,
I've seen, yeah, there's like stuff with him in the studio, wasn't there? But
yeah, on Instagram, but like then they haven't really.
they've changed,
I'm
yeah,
kind of glad.
because
I'm kind of glad. Like,
go on, sorry, mate.
no, I'm just like I'm glad they're very selective with their release. Like they've only put out 3 albums and they haven't done like the Strokes thing where it's we're gonna just like destroy our brand over just putting shit out and stuff. Like they're very like they have these they're poets and like they have these like timeless tunes that like will last forever and like they have this audience that like will follow them wherever they go and like they're kind of like songs don't really get old and they're very selective about like what they add to their canon, which I respect. But I'm also like very eager. Cause I what do you think of the last album? Like to me, it was like pretty good, like 7 out of 10. Like it wasn't embarrassing, it wasn't perfect by any stretch, but like I liked it. Like it wasn't. It was a good like re-entry.
Yeah, it didn't really grab me at the time. I think I'll probably need to listen to it again, but it just felt like um, it just wasn't very lean. It just felt a bit I don't know what, yeah, it just felt a bit. I don't know if flabby is the right word. Not having a go at Pete or
Yeah,
anything. But yeah, it's just a lot of there's like songs like "You're My Waterloo" and stuff that were, I don't
old
know. So obviously
songs.
big songs, like such big songs with the Libertines that kind of didn't really do it justice, but maybe they did. I don't know. Like the single, I thought
Yeah,
the single was pretty bad. Gunga Din, I don't think Gunga Din's a good song. I don't know if you do.
I like that song. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do. I
fair
do like
play.
that song. Yeah. No, I could. Yeah, like I loved Fame and Fortune too, because it seemed like like the pirates are getting back together. Type thing. Um, yeah, but there was like one song like it should have been awesome, but like I don't really the Glasgow Coma Blues. Like I thought like that was gonna be like but it just didn't. I don't know. Something was not finished or like it just didn't come together. But like yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I'm eager to see like what happens next because it seems like
Mm,
it should be. It's been a while. I don't know. That's my. I'm very curious to see, and they've been pretty quiet on social media. So like, I think the summer is coming around. Like they do something, announce something, but they have some
yeah.
festivals booked, but nothing really going on there. Seems like.
Yeah, it's in, like I probably will listen to um that album again because have you read his book, Pete's book?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, it's interesting because like even at that time on last album he was still into drugs and stuff. So it'd be interesting
Yeah.
now that he seems to have come into a new phase or whatever. That'd be interesting to see what it comes up with.
Yeah, it seems fully clean, right? Like, because even after the last one, he wasn't clean, right? He
No,
seems fully
yeah,
clean.
I think
Yeah,
yeah he's just boozing. I think by the looks of it, but
yeah,
yeah, it'd be interesting. Like he's still hammering the acoustic gigs though.
yeah,
It's just like where does it all
yeah,
fit in? But yeah, I saw them last summer, like doing the anniversary stuff of Up the Bracket.
yeah. I love
That was
that.
really cool, actually. That's quite good.
Yeah,
Like, for some reason, it really adds to the gig. For some reason, it's like you just get fully invested in the nostalgia of it. I think.
yeah. I had I had 2 tickets. I was gonna go twice. They were playing. It was when like the second like major whatever. I think it was Omicron, but I had two tickets. I was going to come to London. I had two tickets to. I guess it was not the Roundhouse, but it's near Camden. I for, they played it in the documentary. I forget the name. The name escapes me now. But they were playing like 5 nights in London,
Right.
and I
Okay. What year was this?
yeah, it's like 2 years ago.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and then I ended up the gigs were canceled, and it was just like impossible to fly, and like if you like flew to England during the time, you had to be like quarantined, and like it was just seemed like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, so crushed, and I was like so looking forward to going because it was the up the bracket. It was like the I don't know if it was up the bracket anniversary. I think it wasn't that one yet, but it was like the Giddy Up a Ding Dong tour or something. And I was like so looking forward to it because I'd seen him at the Alexandra Palace, and it was like fun, but it was just too many people. Like it was just too big, gigantic room, and I was like looking forward to seeing them in like their hometown. So I saw them in Netherlands 4 times, and I was looking
When? Like
forward to seeing
what?
like,
What years have you been seeing?
yeah, I saw them. I'd have to look it up, but I saw them twice at Paradiso, and
Okay.
then I saw them twice in Utrecht a couple years after that, and
Right.
they were awesome because they were like there was a lot of English people there that they came over because it's like I think it's like an hour flight for you guys, right, to
Yeah.
Amsterdam.
Yeah. It's very close. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and it was after it was after the third album came out, but I forget. The years kind of. I'm guessing it was like 2017, 2015 around there.
Yeah. I think
You know what I mean?
Alexandra Palace. I went to one of those. Alexandra Palace. Is that 2014 maybe?
Yeah. So I saw yeah, and then so it might have been 2015, 2017, was somewhere around there. But like, I just uh, I don't know. Like every time I've seen them, it's just been like it's the going to get to go to Europe like is always fun, but like are they gonna show up? Like you know what I mean? Like and it's just I remember the second time I saw him in uh Utrecht. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but like in the middle of like the opening band, like Pete comes out and just like knocks over a mic stand. It's like, oh God. And then like we were hearing I made a friend in who he lives in Amsterdam and like we've gone to shows together since and he's like, yeah, like apparently like Carl's like roaming the streets like shopping. That's why like the second night like he showed up late and I was like usually it's like, oh it's Peter's the problem. But like, yeah, apparently like they said like the rumor was like Carl was like roaming the streets like
Right.
shopping or something, like, drunk and something, and it's just like, is he gonna show up? Is he not gonna show up? And like, yeah, it's just, yeah, and it's just, I don't, I think it's hard to, like, why do people love music? I just like, I don't know what it is about them. Like, it's just like the, their music is just, I don't know, it just means the world to me. Like, I don't know, I've like bought into the whole mythology of the band and stuff, and I feel like they're like everything I wanted the Strokes to be, and like like I feel like those big three bands are like for me it's like the Strokes, Arctic Monkeys, and Libertines, and like um the Libertines are like kind of like that platonic ideal for me. Like they just have everything I've ever wanted in a band, like two lead singers and like dynamic vocals, and they're like these interesting like their songs are like more poetry than like actual music once you like break it down, but like and I don't know. Like just the gigs are always insane. Like people are going nuts, and like there's like beers flying everywhere, and um, it's just there's not really they don't really have a like from the songs they play like there's really not one song you want to miss, and it's just I'm kind of glad I'd never seen them here because it would depress me to till no end to see them with like a boring American crowd. Like it would just like break me emotionally, and like I'm glad I've only seen them where like over with you guys where like the crowds are just like nuts. You know what I mean? Like it's just so fun. Like
Yeah. I
um,
think it's. I do think there's something in like the smaller nation mentality. think there's something about that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, especially like if you've seen like live videos from like Transmit in Scotland, the festival, and like they just go absolutely
yeah,
berserk. Because I think there's something about that
yeah,
kind of group mentality kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. I know. What's that other big Scottish festival? Oh, because I've seen. I know Libertines played there when that last album came out. I forget the name of it, but like they were talking about it, like just like Scottish crowds are just mad and like they're
Yeah.
insane. It's just like they bring out the best in them and stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I suppose it's like the way you talk about the Libertines as well. Like, I suppose it's a bit like that for the Strokes with us. I think like the whole, it's like another world to us, like New York and everything. It's like, I
yeah,
guess it's similar for you. Like, yeah, it's just the culture difference and everything. You kind of buy into it a little bit.
yeah. I know it is. It's like for me, like London's like oh, like this is the way like America should be, and like maybe it's like how you view New York, but yeah, it's just because like when you go to London, like because it's like when American girls go to London, like they get swarmed, and like when American guys go to London, like no one gives a shit if you're an American guy. It's like, it's yeah, like it's like I always viewed like British culture as like just more like refined, like more like artistic, and like more like literary, like this, like more just like this is how like Americans should be, but like Britain's kind of like perfected it in a way. I don't know, because we both speak the same language, but like you guys have this cool accent and this like this cool spin on everything, and it's just that's how I always viewed it. Like I don't know, it's but I've always been like very fascinated by British culture and films and comedy and all that stuff, especially the bands, obviously. But yeah, I've always I think everyone kind of wishes they were somewhere else. I'm guessing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I've thought about America a little bit, like
Mm,
something in me that really wants to, yeah, that thinks, oh, I should have lived there at some point or something. But yeah, like you say, it's maybe that just that grass is greener mentality kind of thing. Like you feel like you're missing
yeah,
out on something.
yeah, for sure. I know.
Yeah.
Well,
Um.
congrats on the new king too. You got a new king now.
Um. Yeah. No interest in that.
Yeah, I know. I
It's,
don't know if
it's
you saw, but Prince Harry and Meghan, like they tried to like recreate like Princess Diana. Like they tried to. I don't know if you saw this, but like in New York, they said like we're on this like we were being chased by the paparazzi,
I
and
heard
like
about like
then
a
the cab.
potential crash or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but then like the cab driver came out and said like yeah, it wasn't that bad. Like it was fine. Like we weren't in any danger. But yeah, and
Yeah,
God
it's
save the
weird,
Queen.
isn't it? It's weird because I used to work there. I used to work at Westminster Abbey. I think that's where I started. That's where I used to be like, you know, all right towards the monarchy, and then after that, I was like, I can't be doing with it. I think it's because you
Yeah,
realise that just like normal people that are getting all this
yeah. I know. Just the wealth
treatment.
disparity, like it's just the pageantry. Like it just makes no sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
don't
we'll
get
move
it.
on from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your guitar in the background. It's quite Ryan Jam on that guitar, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a Blink it's a Tom DeLonge strat. But yeah, I play a little, like I'm not very good. I can play like the first couple seconds of you know, Nirvana and Green Day and um stuff like that, but like I'm not very did you play at all? Are you in a band? Were you in a band?
Yeah, I was in the band from like 2000, for literally about a year and a half. Uh, in my hometown, we only played a couple of gigs out of town, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was like a good. I suppose it's like just a bit of a relative experience that's quite good to draw on, even though it's nothing like other bands. But yeah, still like try and write songs and stuff on my acoustic and that,
Yeah.
but it don't really
Yeah.
go anywhere.
No, I don't have that don't have that muscle, so I just like to help keep the mind limber, play a little every day. But I do. I've seen the Cribs more times than I can count, and I love them. And I feel like I had this other weird analogy. I feel like the Cribs were like everything the Strokes and Libertines like should be. Like they stayed together, always toured, like never got too big for their britches, like didn't try to like expand their sound too much. Like, they always like kind of evolved, but like, they stayed together, like didn't get messed up with, substances and stuff. And they're just like this like DIY like workmanship band, like just kept at it and like always reliable and like always gave up their all. And like I was like, I saw them mostly here in New York. I saw them once in Seattle. I was kind of sad because it was like a super small venue. Um, but I felt bad for them. But like every time I've seen them here, like they've always been super fun, and like the crowds have been into it. And got to see him with Johnny Marr a couple times, which was awesome. But yeah, like I've always I've always loved them, and like I really liked your interviews with them because they um 'cause they didn't like a lot of bands, like there's kind of some of those bands like the NME bands were like jumping onto a scene, and like the Cribs just kind of seem like we've been on this path, like we'll you know ride like this wave as long as we can, but like we've always been doing this, we're going to continue doing it. And like they've had this kind of like workman's like attitude toward it, like we're just going to keep at it. And like like we're not going to be phased by like outside forces and stuff. And they seem like they have a lot of respect, and from that community of just like always being there, and like like just keeping at it.
Yeah, definitely know what you mean. Yeah, they've just done their own thing basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah. I think like it was them for me. It was like them and the Maccabees kind of like didn't really put a foot wrong, and then obviously the Maccabees have called it a day. But yeah, they never really produced a bad album or anything. And like you say, like
yeah,
plus carried on playing like cool venues, which is always good.
yeah.
Because as soon as a band
I
goes to
know.
an arena, it gets a bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. And even whenever I see them, there's just people like chanting Wakefield. Like people just always, I mean, like wherever I see them, people just like know to chant Wakefield and stuff. Yeah. Unfortunate little band name, but I never really liked the band name. But I don't really, I never really like I didn't really like Arctic Monkeys as a band name either. But yeah, the Cribs is an unfortunate band name, but great band. And I've always liked that. Special
Yeah,
band. It's a cool time.
yeah. What's the best venue to go to in New York? And do you think I'd see a band in New York?
Um, my favorite is the Music Hall Williamsburg, which is about like a 400 to 500 um, person place, and it had no seats, but there's a balcony. But like it's one of those venues like you could kind of show up late and still get up front pretty easily. Bowery Ballroom, similar venue. That's in Lower Manhattan, Irving Plaza. Um, Mercury Lounge, like that's where the Strokes
Yeah.
kind of up their house band. I actually got to see the Cribs there once when
Ah, okay.
that yeah, For All My Sisters album came out. And I've actually like bumped into some cool people there. I remember I forget who I was seeing. It might have been the Cribs in college. But I was seeing the Cribs there, and Albert Hammond was there, and I met him briefly.
Oh, really? Yes.
Yeah, and this is like when his troubles were happening. He didn't really learn about till older, but like I remember like these two like like supermodels were next to me, and like I heard them talking, and like they're like, yeah, like, it's good like Albert's out again. Like it's just like it's good. Maybe he had just broken up with a model or something, and then I talked to him briefly because I had run into Julian at a Best Buy, which is like an electronics store, and he was like coming in the exit, and I was leaving the exit, and like we had this moment. I'm like, oh hey, like I'm a big fan. He's like, oh thank you, and like he seemed like a little flustered that like someone recognized him. He
Really?
seemed a little like out of sorts. So this was like 2006, so it was like still they weren't like crazy. They were very popular and very they weren't like crazy big rock stars at the time. They're still kind of a little underground, not really underground, but like they weren't like what they are now.
Yeah.
And then at the Mercury Lounge, I said to Albert, yeah, like I actually like met um Julian. Like I bumped into him like last week, and he's like, wow, he's like 2 strokes in a week. That can't be a good thing. Yeah, but I bumped elbows with some cool people there. I got the Cribs. I met briefly Rick Ocasek, the guy from the Cars that
Ah, right.
produced yeah that album, and he produced a bunch of Weezer albums. And I I met Alex Capranos briefly at the Mercury Lounge because he was there. It was definitely a Crib show then when I saw when the Men's Needs album came out, like Men's Needs, Women Need, he was there. And the Razorlight drummer, I remember talking to briefly. I forget who he was seeing. Um, yeah, but it's like one of those venues where you kind of, it's like you're gonna like bump into someone because of people. It's just like there's like a legit band playing, but like all the cool people are gonna come out for it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I saw the Strokes are playing Forest Hill Stadium, which looks quite cool. And it's not like an intimate venue or anything, but like it's what do you
Yeah.
call this venue? What do you call those?
Um,
What do you call them now?
yeah,
That style of
it's a
seating.
yeah, it's a former tennis stadium. I've seen I saw the Replacements there, which is a great American band from the '80s, and yeah, like, I was looking at tickets. Actually, my younger brother got me and my fiance uh, Arctic Monkeys tickets, but they were like seated, and I was just like, I don't want to see the Arctic Monkeys seated, and so I sold them. But yeah, I'm looking.
What at
I
that
was thinking,
stadium?
yeah,
Ah, that'd
they're
been
playing
cool.
like
That.
yeah, they're playing like 2 nights there, but I just like I see the set list, I'm just like I don't know. I just like it's gonna be a slog to get there. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't. Yeah, it's like the same. Like I just I don't know. I'm just like, is the crowd gonna be fun? And like I don't know. I don't want to hear like some of these newer songs. Like it's just gonna. You know what I mean? Like I want to like go. You know what I mean? Like I want to just fucking go for it. You know what I mean? I just want like yeah. I don't know. Like I wish I
Yeah.
could have saw him in London after that second album. I like one of those smaller rooms. Like it was just like fucking like pandemonium and stuff like that's or like just them playing those first 2 albums. Like I think their first 5 albums are great, but like there was like a moment where it was just like fucking chaos. It seemed like just
Yeah.
absolute like
I
yeah
mean,
like
they played when the first time I saw them, it was like about 150 people there or something. It's stupid.
ugh,
It played literally in my hometown, and it's like
yeah
the hype had started, but I think quite a few
yeah
people were still skeptical because I couldn't convince anyone to go with me, and
yeah
it's like about £6.
ugh.
It's just madness.
No,
But
yeah,
yeah,
if
they
you like
played.
catch
Go on,
bands
sorry.
no, if you catch like you caught them like you catch bands like at the right time, like it's just like this perfect like moment in time. Like you'll never get it back. Like it's just like I wish I could have seen them. So you saw them before the albums, or like like in like the first two had already come out, or like one of them had come out, or was it
No,
before
it's
like?
2005, so it was literally just as the demos had come out. And
Oh,
do you know Zane Lowe? Is he in America?
would you say?
It's like a radio presenter called Zane Lowe who
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, no, we know Zane Lowe. Yeah,
yeah he was pushing them big time on his radio station. Like his radio show was great for like new
yeah,
music back then. So I'm like, yeah, I was just like bang into it, and then yeah, it can't be more than 200 people in that venue. And then I remember they were giving away signed posters. I think I've got a feeling they were for free, and I couldn't be bothered to carry one home. And now
yeah.
looking
Never
back,
knew what.
it'd be great to have that on
Yeah,
my wall now. But they're playing so many gigs though recently. It's mad. Well, they're
yeah,
really hammering it. But it's not, I mean, I don't know if I hold it against them or not, but it's really not cheap. It's like about £100. If you want a seating ticket at the gig, it's like £100, which is fucking mad.
yeah.
But
I
they might
know. Yeah.
justify that by saying, we want to pay all the, people behind the scenes fairly and stuff, which I don't know. I'm sure they could
Yeah.
justify it in a way, but
Yeah. Like there's just something like I don't know. It doesn't like I can't pay more than yeah. It's like 100. Like I saw Rage last summer for like $150. I had GA seats, like floor seats, and I'm like, okay, I'll pay for that. This is like kind of once in a lifetime, but it's like, do I want to spend like $200 on like an Arctic Monkeys ticket? It's like, what the fuck? Like, no, you know what I mean, like, I
it's
don't know.
so much
It just
money.
yeah, it's just not. If they were like, I don't know, if it was like a dynamic set list that was just like kind of like, but I don't know. Like I look, they play the same set like over and over again. Like I remember I saw a video of them in Portugal. I don't know how recent it was, but like the crowd was just going absolutely ape shit, like just nuts. Like you know what I mean? Like, um, so yeah, it looked really fun, but I don't know. Like it's just I feel like they're kind of they're past their for me at least like I don't know they just I don't know they just the last couple of like you know what I mean like it's
Yeah.
they're you know what I mean. I remember I had I don't think I have it anymore, but I had like a bootleg, or maybe it was like a mini live album from like the early days. And like before one of the songs, like Alex says, like he's like, "You don't have to love us just because they told you to." they're they're like he already had like a pretty like informed and like grounded perspective. Like he's like, you know, we're being like overhyped, but like you know,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
If they did that, that thing the Cribs did where they played a different album every night, which one would you go to for Arctic Monkeys?
the second one. What about you?
Yeah. Good question. Didn't even have
Yeah,
one answer lined up there.
yeah.
I think I'd probably go for the first just for like because they
That'll be
just
my
don't
second
put
choice.
because they just don't
Yeah,
play many songs off it anymore, do they?
yeah,
Like what? Let's have a look at the first one. Uh, Wikipedia. There we go.
yeah. Like I think those. I think the I like the second one more, but like I could see. Like I think the first one's like pretty perfect too. Like I think the second one, like I remember I was like a junior in college or sophomore in college. I forget when Brian Storm came out. I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like this is like from fucking like outer space. Like what is going on? Like just like I'm not a musician, but I was just like, what is going on? Like the song is like from like another world. Like it was just like so fast and like the dynamic changes so much and like it was just like what is going on? Like it was like the video was so cool, had these like cool dancers and like it was just like so fast and like it was like such a like came out of the gate like it was just like holy shit like it was just
Yeah.
it was just like fucking like and just like never let up and like I remember first time I heard Teddy Picker I was like holy shit I was the same reaction I was just like and then because they're kind of like talking about the scene in that song. It seems like it's like another variation on a theme. Like it's just like so smart and like he's kind of like a hip hop. He's kind of like a rapper. He fits so many words into a verse, and but like it doesn't sound like rap. Like it just he fits. You know what I mean? Like he's just I don't know. He's another when he was on in those early years, like it was just like, what is this? Like yeah, he just took it to a whole new level. Like you know what I mean? Like I always viewed them as kind of the Clash of the scene. Like they just took those like building blocks of like the Strokes and Libertines and just like took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, looking at that track list now, there's some great songs on there.
Yeah,
All Yellow Bricks, I'm getting really into that at one point.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember some rapper covered Leave Before the Lights Go On.
Oh yeah.
That was quite cool to watch. And then I remember Puff Daddy was really into him, wasn't he? I won't think.
Yeah. I remember I saw videos because I used to have like a little YouTube channel of them on
Yeah,
tour and
Matt used
stuff.
to
And
do it, didn't he? Yeah.
yeah, I used to see him. Like in their big house in Miami and stuff. And yeah, Uh,
Yes,
it's
funny
just like,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, mate. I think that's it, really. But that's it.
Yeah, thank you, man. This is awesome. It was great chatting with you. I love the show, and I just saw you put up a new one with the baby shambles. I'll definitely listen to. This is awesome, man. And if you're ever in New York, definitely let me know.
Yeah,
I'd love to
cheers,
meet
Matt.
up.
Definitely
Yeah,
hoping to come sooner rather than later. I think some of my friends are going
yeah,
to San Francisco in summer, but I can't make that. I don't think so. But I'll be over at some
yeah,
point. Yeah.
yeah. It's a big hike, San Francisco.
Yeah. Okay, man. Nice one.
Okay,
I'll give
thanks
you a
very much.
shout. Nice one.
Yeah, it
Cheers,
was
Matt.
nice meeting you. Yeah,
Yeah.
take it easy.